Hey, good afternoon. I'm here with Mike Marcotte. You might know Mike Marcotte as the owner and operator of Prime Catering and the Italian Table. You might also know as well about his involvement with Roots and Boots. Him and Trevor Panzak put on this awesome fundraiser for stars, and it's like a huge deal, eh?
Yeah,
It's awesome.
it's growing rapidly.
Nice.
Thanks for coming. We're sitting here in the Sophia Loren booth at Italian Table.
Exactly. So small business is hard, right? It's tough stuff. And the last couple of years have been even tougher, right? With all of the changes with occupational health and safety and minimum wage and labor standards and workers' comp changes. Big, tough business to be in. And especially the restaurant business. Restaurant business, food services business is even tougher than the rest because the margins are generally so thin. So how do you pull that off, Mike? How do you make that work?
Well, Al, I thought we weren't going to talk about politics. So Al's lying to me already. But yeah, I mean, there's no question that the last 4 years, and really the last decade, small business has gone from being hard to being, I think somewhere near impossible. I mean, I heard something on CBC yesterday where somebody was talking about small business being the backbone of our economy. Well, sometimes it doesn't feel like anybody remembers that.
Nope.
So, it's been a big adjustment. I mean, I think obviously we've had to pass on a lot of our costs to the consumer. We can never pass it all on, so we've seen margins shrink over the last kind of 7 or 8 years, and I think you got to work hard and you got to work smart. It's a job of business to figure out how to be profitable in the environment that you're in, and it's not our first. Like I bought Moxie's here 23 years ago, and we've been through all kinds of crap in that 23 years. I remember one of the biggest ones we did was Mad Cow. That was an incredibly scary kind of environment to be in business in, and you adapt and you got to figure it out. That's the job of business. If you don't, you go the way of the dodo bird, right?
Definitely. But then part of the success too, it's got to be from attracting the right people to make things happen for you, right?
Oh, for sure. And I mean, like interestingly, I was having a conversation today with somebody, and when we were talking about this new UBC platform and how scary it is, and I mean, always knew governments are scary, but I thought what was interesting about it is it's not really about kind of what you're facing. It's about what you do with it, right? So we have absolutely, I've had Moxie's here since 1996, and we absolutely know that the one thing we can never do, regardless of what happens, is cut our service.
Right.
That just doesn't cut it, right? So, again, you got to get a little more creative. You have to really think about who you're going to employ and make sure that your goals and their goals line up. Right. So, and again, I was speaking to somebody today from Inclusion, Alberta, and what I was saying to them is that we interview everybody the same. It's not about here's what we need from you. What do you need from us? Right? So we never start a conversation about employment without saying, what kind of income do you need to earn? What's your availability? So if we hire an employee and we put a ton of effort into training and developing them, and then we find out that they need more money than they could possibly make here, it's a failed experiment. Right. It's a big waste of resources. It's a big waste of, and then we're starting over.
And so you have to be real clear on the expectations at the get-go,
yeah,
right?
And not only our expectations, but even honestly, more importantly, their expectations. And it's always interesting to watch somebody when I go through an interview process with them, because they're always like, why are you telling me so much about your business and you, and isn't it me that's getting interviewed? And I go, well, not really. Like,
both ways.
Really, you're interviewing me. So the last thing I want you to do is take a job here if you don't think we're a fit.
Right, exactly.
Then we're doomed. It's bound to fail. So the adages and the adage is that you hire for attitude and train for technique, right? So you know, I mean, I think a lot of people say that in their business, but I don't think a lot of people do it in their business,
Got
right?
it.
So
Yeah.
it's like you've got this culture that is supposed to be the backbone of your business, but if you don't actually live the culture,
Yeah.
then that's just something that's on a orientation piece of paper, right? It's not actually how you manage your business. So, you know, I think for us, it's all about, can we meet your expectations? Can you meet our expectations? Um, you know, we talk a lot about, you know, the bus, right? So the bus has to be well maintained to drive. You got to know where you're driving it in order to get to your destination. You have to have the right people on the bus. More importantly, you have to have the wrong people off the bus.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, one of the things that I've taught forever is that right people in the right seats on the bus. So if we hire somebody and we hire them for a position and it doesn't make sense, then we try them on different seats on the bus.
Yeah.
They find a fit.
Right.
And if we can't find a fit, then we, you know, respectfully agree
They need to get off the bus.
to be friends and
Yeah.
you know, come
Yeah.
in as a great customer and
Yeah.
you know, this maybe just didn't work out for us.
Yeah.
But again, we spend a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of money training and trying to hire the right people. And you know, when we look for resumes, we look for people who are proud of their accomplishments, right? What athletic team were you on? What you know, you sang competitively. Like, it doesn't matter what it is.
Right. Right.
Just that it's something that you're actually passionate about and that you've put the effort into to excelling in.
Right.
And that's our secret, you know. I mean, I'm running on, but people ask me all the time where I find all these fantastic people. Well, I don't. They find us, you know. And you know, again, by having clear expectations, by looking for people who are motivated for excellence sake, it's actually, you know, there's a lot of people out there. And I hear this too, Al, all the time. Like, you know, like there's, what's wrong with these millennials today? Not a damn thing that I can tell. I mean, to me, they're a smart, articulate group of people who have a better idea of what they want than maybe generations before them.
And
So-
also a much more of a social, like to do good in the world as well,
Yeah.
right? You know,
Yeah.
so tell us about social eyes and social eyes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So this is, you know, so when I built this restaurant concept, and it is an original restaurant concept, I was trying to think about, you know, I'm gonna build my own restaurant. I've been a franchise guy for 23 years. Well, in what way or how would I build this thing? And I was like, okay, well, here's the criteria. One was, it better be food I like, right? Because if I'm doing this again, it's going to be something that I really want to eat, right? So, because as a restaurant guy, you end up eating at your own place a lot,
Sure.
right? So, I wanted it to be simple. I didn't want it to be hoity-toity, super complex. Italian food is very basic, really high quality ingredients, and so it's not super complicated to do. It's super complicated to do it well. So that was part of it. And then when I thought about a restaurant concept, I thought, I hate when I go into a restaurant and I see everybody on their cell phone. It kind of makes me a little squirrely,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And I think in many ways, you know, the family dinner has been replaced lots of times with the
Looking at your
restaurant
phone.
dinner.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
with the
Yeah.
restaurant dinner where that's when you tend to get together. And then I see people on their phones and I'm like, what are you doing, man? So I really wanted to come up with this idea and I wanted to create a space. And it says this on my menu. It says that, you know, to create a place where people could socialize and share. So I created a menu that allows you to share your food, which to me is when people are enjoying themselves the most is when they're sharing and socializing, right? So the brand, the tagline became socialize and share, you know, the Italian way, right? So unless you're taking snaps of the great decor in here or the food to post on Insta, you know, we hope that you
Leave your cell phone low.
We hope that you got your cell phone down and you're engaging, enjoying the people that you're hanging out with that day, whoever that is. And
right.
presumably, if you're here with somebody you want to be with, right? So that was the idea, and then, I literally woke up one morning and I had this idea, and I wrote it down. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning. I got up, I wrote it down, and it was socialize, EYES, and share. And it was really kind of a cool idea and a great way to spell it. And the idea was simply this, that we are here to socialize and share time spent with friends and family, engaging in conversation and talking about whatever, whether it's serious matters or less serious matters, is a really important part of being happy. And another really important part, which you know a ton about, Al, I don't have to tell you, is that the idea that the living is in the giving, right? So I really wanted to kind of incorporate that into the whole concept of what we are and who we are, and socialize and share really tied in. So the idea that that we as business leaders, we as human leaders need to give back is second nature to lots of people in Alberta. We're one of the most giving provinces in Canada. In Lethbridge, I've been a member with you in Rotary for many years, and I know how many boards you sit on and how involved you are, and it's pretty inspiring. I really wanted to try and create an opportunity for two kind of things. One was to engage the young people who work here, and to make them realize that not to make them realize, because I know they know this, they're smart, articulate, intelligent people, but just to really kind of push the envelope and say, it's our responsibility, right? We need to have each other's back. We need to be part of the change that we want to see, right? So socialize and share kind of came from that concept.
Yeah,
And,
cool. Yeah.
I'm pretty passionate about youth charities, so we do a tremendous amount of work with Youth One, and we're just trying to find places where we can infiltrate. And we got these little awards sitting here. That was Al's idea, everybody.
It was my idea. Yes.
So this is the Spirit of Lethbridge Award, which we won at for the Chamber 2 years ago. And this is for Business of the Year for 2018 for Prime Catering, which is our catering company. And this is a wonderful accolade, but that one's more meaningful to me for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So
Spirit of Lethbridge.
yeah, Spirit of Lethbridge, which is where we were recognized for our philanthropic efforts, right? And,
Nice.
So we're Italian Table's only about a year old. We're still working on striking this committee. We're doing lots of good work, regardless of having this committee struck. But the idea is that our business would put away X amount of dollars a month into this socialize and share fund. We're asking the staff if they would be inclined to donate whatever, $5, $10 off of each paycheck to just add to the pool, which again, it's kind of a monetary thing, but a minor monetary thing, and hopefully it just makes them feel and gives them an opportunity to contribute, right?
Sure.
Through something normal.
Yeah.
And I also think a lot of people want to volunteer, but I don't think they know how to.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Volunteerism is not what it was back in the day, for sure. And so now it's kind of like, how can you make it as easy as possible? So you have a team here. If they engage in what you're interested in as well, then you could make a whole bunch of difference, right? Not just on the money part, but just on the like volunteering your time too.
Yeah,
right?
and going forward, right? So kind of creating a culture where everybody recognizes that if you look for those opportunities, they're there. And what I like about it, again, the committee, it's been slow to come to fruition because we spent the last year kind of building our business and really digging in. But I just had a meeting the other night and have had a number of staff members express interest of sitting on this board, and I want them to go find what are you passionate about?
Right.
What do you want us to to get involved in. And,
Right, makes sense. Yeah.
and you know, with a staff of we have a staff of about 75 here, so we have a significant staff. You know, how do we look for ways that staff can say, hey, yeah, that interests me, I'd like to be a part of that, whether it's a golf tournament or, you know, youth one, or it doesn't really matter what it is. It's
Right.
what are we interested in. And yeah, I think youth is where the investment needs to be made, to be frank. You know, like, yeah.
The one little, we're going to talk about that a little more if you're okay.
Okay, yeah.
But one thing I wanted to put in a plug, Mike mentioned about Rotary. So Rotary is a great organization. I'm part of that. Mike is on a little hiatus from it right now. But basically, when the Lobster Fest is this coming Saturday, I believe there's still tickets available. Like, it's going to be a great time. Chevelles are playing as well, so I think you can still get tickets.
Right.
But this September 29th, right here at the what was called the Lethbridge Lodge, which is now the Sandman Signature, we're going to have the Black and Gold event here, and it's going to be an awesome time. Tickets aren't available yet, but plug that in your calendar for Saturday, September 29th. We're going to have dueling pianos here. We're going to have a fantastic meal by the Italian table. Last year, the meal, the rating, the satisfaction ratings from our guests, where that was like the best meal ever. So it was fantastic. So we're hoping for a repeat performance, Mr. Marcotte.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, a member of Rotary 2 different times for a total of a little over 10 years. You know, I've been a Paul Harris guy 4 times, and again, I mean, what I love about Rotary is they do great international work, and they do great federal work, and they do great provincial work, and they do great local work. And what I found with Rotary is that was a little bit of one-stop shopping for me, right? I could go and invest my time, my energy, and my money, and know that I was going to many different areas that are super important. And Lobster Fest is this Saturday. Got fresh Atlantic lobster flown in day before. Prime Catering, which is our sister store out of this property. We're providing the steaks, and we'll be cooking the steaks with Dallas, and we've been involved for many years, and it is an amazing event. I mean, the lobster is, it's off the hook. I'm a chef by trade, and you know, honestly, you don't even need butter for it. I mean, we give you butter just because that's what you do, but it is incredible. And Black and Gold, again, I don't think I've missed an event in almost 20 years. Yeah, it's here, it's upstairs, it's at Prime Catering, and it's a 4 or 5 course meal depending on what we land on. And yeah, it's a great charity. There's an incredible amount of great work that gets accomplished as a result of those 2 events. So
yeah,
if you need to know more, you should call for sure.
Exactly. And we're going to be, so just mark that in your calendar right now, and then, or your phone, and then we're going to get on that later in terms of getting the tickets out and those kind of things.
Yeah.
But also, Mike, I first learned the term ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experiences, from you.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to talk more about that?
Yeah, I can try and fill you in a little bit more. I mean, one of the things that I'm very interested in is reconciliation, truth and reconciliation, and you know, why that doesn't have more legs, you know, in our community right now. And so I won't get too deep into that because it can be a little bit of a polarizing issue. So this might not be the venue for it. But anyway, through some of that research, I guess I'll call it, I stumbled across the term ACEs, which is Adverse Childhood Experiences. And what I thought was, and again, for a guy who was already interested in many of these things, the research really shows that when kids are exposed to high levels of adverse experiences, it really changes how their brain develops, and they start to, you know, develop through more of their instinctive brain instead of otherwise. I won't try and get too deep into it because I'm not that smart, but what it really is it's about you know, intergenerational issues that come as a result of this. So anyway, we're trying to figure out more how to how to get involved. How do we get involved? How do we um, we're never going to stop adverse childhood experiences. That's not the end game, but what we need to try and focus on is how do we help put programs together that build resiliency in children. And Gabor Mate, you can Google him if you get a chance. Says it's not about the trauma that happens to you. It's not about what happens to you. It's about how you process what happens to you. And this concept of resiliency, I think, is interesting. So we haven't really dug into this too far yet, but it's something that's on our radar for sure.
A conversation that Mike and I were having about a week ago is about, I'm involved with the Victim Services Unit, and there's 2 communities right like outside of Lethbridge, which their incidence of child abuse, reported child abuse, because a lot of it goes unreported, is like 4 times the national average. 4 times. So, and speaking to Mike's point about the intergenerational issues, like where kids who have been in abuse or even a neglect situation end up with poorer health, poorer ability to relate to people, poorer satisfaction with all these things that are negative impacts. So if there's a way, that, and I'm with you, like I want to help as well. If there's a way that we can give kids who are in those environments a better start and better assistance so that they can deal with those situations, I think that is important, and important not just now, but for the next generation and the next generation, because it kind of flows from one to the next, right? By the way, just a little plug for this course. I took this course called Brain Story Certification, and it's through the Alberta Family Wellness Institute. I think it's the best course I ever took. But a lot of it was to do with brain development and children, and then children where they've been abused, or children where they've been neglected. And it was a fascinating, sometimes depressing, but a fascinating course. And it's free through Alberta Family Wellness, so it's a great course.
I'll have to get you to send that to me.
I will.
I haven't seen that, and I'd love to sign up for that program.
Yeah, no, it was great, and it wasn't just about kids; it was also about women as well, right?
Yeah.
Because this little thingy here is about from the Chinook Sexual Assault Center,
Right.
and it's about ending sexual assault, is what it basically their initiative is. But in that course, one of the things I found fascinating is that if you or I got beat up by somebody, it's going to be somebody that we don't know probably, right? If it's a woman, it's somebody that says they love them and then they beat the shit out of them, right? It's bizarre, right?
Yeah.
And same as like soldiers in the military, right? There's the male soldiers, they have to worry about the enemy. The female soldiers have to worry about the enemy and their fellow soldiers, right?
Yeah.
Like that's crazy shit.
I don't want to get too controversial, but I think that, again, the old expression is men are worried that the woman will embarrass them, and women are worried that men will kill them.
Yeah.
That's the expression.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a little heavy. So
yeah, that is. So
let's not get too crazy.
But if we can do something to reduce the adverse childhood experiences, that would be a very positive thing now and go forward.
Yeah, and again, I mean, you can think about. I don't care where, whether you're a business person or you're a government agency or where you work. I mean, the reality is that anytime we're looking at these types of social issues, the flow through into what it costs our society, the cost of society. So, I mean, any way you cut it, you can make an argument that this is something we should all be involved in.
It's a worthwhile investment.
As a taxpayer, as a person who lives in this world, we should be involved. So again, there's a number of ways to be involved. We're not here to talk about that today, but give of your time, give of your money. As we said, the living is in the giving. And I know that you and I both advocate for many different causes, and we don't do that for recognition or accolades or awards. To do that because it's the right thing to do, and hopefully that's coming across today. I don't know. Al's talked me into doing this thing. I don't know what happened, man, but here I
am. What else do we want to talk about? Oh, I have a confession to make, Mike.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Okay, so I think I used your name inappropriately.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, I did. When I was going, I've been for the last few weeks, I come early for Rotary, and I say, Mike says I have to come here and test the microphone. So then I go sing songs for like about a half hour before the guests come. So
Nice.
So I serenade your staff, so they don't seem
Excellent.
to mind,
Cool.
So it's all
That's
good. So,
Well, nobody's complained. So
Nobody's
I think
complained.
I
Good.
think you're okay.
all right, good, perfect. Okay, good, cool. What else did we want to talk about?
I don't know. I didn't have an agenda, so
Me neither.
Yeah,
Me neither.
Yeah, I think again. I mean, you know, I'll put a plug in for Italian Table. If you haven't
Please
been
do.
in here, come check it out. Decor's amazing, food's amazing, staff's amazing. We're a little over a year. It's been an incredible year. The Lethbridge Lodge Signature Sandman has been under renovation for about 3.5 years now. There's some big work happening this summer. The lobby will get done. The front entrance will get done. Some windows going into the grand ballroom. So lots of big reno stuff this year. Probably a bit again next year. But again, if you haven't been to this property for a long time, it's not the same property it was.
Right.
4 years ago. It's changed dramatically, and there's been a tremendous investment. And I'll say that part of the reason I got involved in this project in the first place is because this is part of downtown. This is part of the downtown business revitalization zone, and our downtown's very important to everybody in this community. And so I feel like this property is a very important piece of our downtown and a very important piece to feed our businesses in the downtown core. This and all others as well. So it's been a cool project. It's been a lot of work, but it's been a lot of fun. So.
I get to eat here once a week because Rotary has their meeting here, so I'm always here every Monday. So that's great. And then one thing too, last year when we had the black and gold, some people were concerned about the ballroom, that it hadn't been refinished.
Right.
But you know what? We dressed the old girl up. It was an awesome night. The food, again, it was the best rating we ever had from customer satisfaction. So it was a very gratifying evening. We made some money for Rotary, so it was all good.
Yeah, good. It was a good event, and we're glad we could help for sure.
Yeah, cool. Cool.
How long have we been talking for?
I have no idea. Yeah, so probably long enough. Hey, what do you think?
Yeah. Can somebody out there who's posting these little notes just tell us whether we should shut the hell up now or not?
Okay, so it says Rudy Rieger is watching. I can read that.
Bring him on.
Bring him on.
Camera.
All right. Okay. Oh, bring them on camera. No, I don't think Rudy wants to be on camera.
okay.
I doubt that. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. And Cornelis Loss, who now is in San Francisco. No, pardon me, Los Angeles.
Oh wow.
California, somewhere in California, and used to live here as a university prof at the U of L.
Oh, nice.
So he's watching as
Very
well.
good.
Yeah.
How you doing? Nice to see you.
Yeah. I think that pretty much is what we need to do, right?
right.
All right. And if you love this, then we'll do it again. What the hell?
Sure.
All right.
Sounds like a good deal.
All right. So thanks for watching, and we'll talk later.
Thanks, Al.
Do you want to? No.